video we will learn about the nervous system, that is the structure of the brain. Now we have taken the cross section of the brain over here. Now the brain. First the brain is covered by this layer called as the skull. We know about the skull. Skull is made up of 22 bones approximately. That is, it is made up of 23 bones to protect the brain. That is the main organ in a human body. It acts like a CPU, like the computer. CPU is the brain of the computer. Same way we have this brain that acts like a CPU. From here, all the nerve cells, that is the signals or the electrical impulses that we call as the electrical impulses, gets into this brain so that we can verify it to what is this or what is that. Suppose if I writing like this, if I am writing like this, then my brain tells me that what should I do with this brain? What should I do with this brain? Or if I keep it over here, or if I write, that depends on the brain. What activity do I do? This is depend on the brain. Now first layer of the brain is the skull. Skull is the outer covering of the brain, which inside is the brain sits inside. Next there is a scalp, that is some bony thing over there between that. That is called as the scalp. Inside that there is the meninges. Inside that meninges there is a liquid called as the cerebrospinal fluid. That cerebrospinal fluid, inside that there is a brain. Now you may ask the question that the brain is important or the heart is important. Actually the brain is important, because the brain tells that to the heart that how to beat, how to pump the blood to all the parts of the body. This is how the brain acts. That means our correct option is the brain. That is, the brain is the main organs in our human body. Now next is the cerebrospinal fluid. That here the cerebrum is there. Now the brain is divided into three parts: cerebrum, cerebellum and medulla oblongata. That's the big name of brain stem. That is called as the brain stem. Medulla oblongata is also called as the brain stem. Now we will see each one in greater detail. First is the cerebrum. That is the biggest portion of our body. That is also called as the forebrain. That is the biggest part of the brain. That is the cerebrum. Inside the cerebrum there are some neuron cells like this. They don't look like a cell that we had learned in the chapter of cells. It is like this, that there is one nucleus in between surrounding by the cytons, and then there are some branches like this. And there is one stick like this. This is called as an axons. And these branches are called as the dendrites. These are dendrites. This is the nucleus surrounded by the cyton. That is also called as cytoplasm of the cell. This is cyton. There is a special name. And this is the axon that carries the electrical impulses over there. That is axon over. This is the dendrite. This is the nucleus. And this surrounding thing is called as a cyton. It carries the electrical impulses to the brain. Because of that we can hear the sound, or we can take the electrical signals or the electrical impulses. Now we will learn about the cerebrum. We had learned about cerebrum now only. Next part, what is the next part? Next part is the cerebellum. Now what does the cerebellum do? Cerebellum maintains the balance of a body. Suppose if I stand on one leg like this, then I will just fall away, but I can balance it. Why? Because of this cerebellum. All the grammar knowledge that is there, that we are speaking in English, that is because of the cerebellum. Cerebellum stores all the information that we had get, not by the cerebrum. Cerebrum tells us our intelligence. That is how much we had learned, how we had learned, that how to give answer to someone. This is how the cerebrum acts. Cerebrum is divided into two parts. This cerebrum, not this cerebellum. Cerebrum is divided into two parts: left hemisphere and right hemisphere. There is a funny fact over here. You may think that right side of a hemisphere of a cerebrum will control the right side and left side will be left side, but actually right side of the cerebrum will control left side of our body, and left side of the body will control the right side of our body. That's the reason of the brain. This is the cerebrum. This is the cerebellum. We know that cerebellum controls our balance in nature. Next is the medulla. Now what is medulla oblongata? That is the brain stem. Now what is the difference between the spinal cord that is there and the medulla oblongata? Medulla oblongata help us to do involuntary action. That is involuntary action like digesting food, circulating the blood, that is the heart pumping. When I speak and if I cough out, then my eyes close, that is because of involuntary action that is done by the medulla oblongata. And spinal cords are the nerves over there. Nerves carry the signals to the spinal cords and then to the cerebrum, so that we can hear that sound or what signals to it. Suppose if I take a hot pot and put on its hand, I will immediately remove. In this case, spinal cord is there. It is working by using the different system called as the reflex action. Now how does reflex action work? It gets time to take the signals to the brain. So there is one more faster method, that is the reflex action. If you put my hand on a steam or a hot pot, then I will immediately remove that because of the reflex action. That is the responsiveness to stimulus that we had learned in a 6th standard. Now we know that what is cerebellum, cerebrum and medulla oblongata and spinal cord. We know vertebrae. That's the part. Next we will look about the hypothalamus and the pituitary gland. Now what does hypothalamus and pituitary glands work? First we will learn about pituitary glands. Pituitary glands is the master of endocrine glands. It is a master of endocrine glands that help us about the hormones. That we will learn in our later classes. And what is hypothalamus then? Hypothalamus help us to control our growth. That is the secretion of the hormones which are there. Because of that, our height grows and grows and grows. The babies which are there, height grows in 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days. This is because of the hormones which are there. Hormones get secreted, reproduce, and then it will grow. This is because of the hormones which are there inside. That is because of the hypothalamus. There is a fun fact that the tallest man in the world is the Robert Wadler. That his height is about 8 feet 11 inches. That's so big height. That is about this much to this much. That is so big height. This is because of the hypothalamus. Hypothalamus and pituitary glands. Hypothalamus doesn't work. That means it gets over controlled by the hormones. That is the secretion of the hormones. So his height goes on and on and on. Afterwards, after operation, at that time, doctors had found that the hormone level is so high. So by using operation, that is operation do doctors do, and the height gets stopped at that point only. This is the world record of 8 feet 11 inches. That is the record of 8 feet 11 inches of the tallest man in the world. Now the biggest question in our mind is, can we live without a brain? Answer is, yes, we can live without a brain. I will tell you one case that will help you to understand can we live without a brain. The case is in year 2014 at the December time of Christmas. One man was born without a total cerebrum. Without total cerebrum. Just medulla and the cerebellum was there. That means whole cerebrum was filled with just cerebrospinal fluid. This is called as no brain. That means no brain at all. That is no brain at all. That is cerebrum is nothing over there. So that intelligence will be not there. Because of the cerebrum, no intelligence will be there. But still he lived for 12 years approximately, or 12 to 13 years. This is the case of the brainstem. Brainstem, medulla oblongata was there. Why? Because medulla oblongata gets the involuntary action. It helps to do involuntary actions. Because of the heart beating, respiration, he can respire. Because of that, he can respire and live for 13 years or 12 years approximately. But the cerebrum was missing, but cerebellum was there. Cerebellum and medulla was there, but cerebrum was not there. Because of the cerebrum was not there, it was filled with the cerebrospinal fluid. Here we had completed the chapter of brain over here. Now we had completed a brain chapter over here, but we will summarize that what we had learned. First, we had learned about the skull, then scalp, then meninges. The cerebrum, that a total brain, and the total brain is divided into 3 parts. That is cerebrum, cerebellum, and medulla oblongata, or the brainstem. Now, cerebrum cerebrum, outside there is a cerebrospinal fluid that help us in a intelligence, and cerebrum helps us in a intelligence, that is this part. Next is the cerebellum, that is the difference. Cerebrum and cerebellum, that is the difference. Now what does cerebellum do? It controls our speaking language, that is I am speaking to you, so all the knowledge in my cerebellum. Next is the medulla oblongata or the brainstem. What does medulla oblongata do? It helps us in the involuntary action, that is the circulating blood, respiration. Then we had learned about something called as the hypothalamus and the pituitary glands. Hypothalamus, secretion of the hormones, and pituitary glands. What is the pituitary gland? Master of the endocrine gland. Next we had seen the examples of living without a brain, that is no brain at all, but there are some parts of the brain over here. Here a chapter of the brain get completed.